Hold up. We them boys! The Boys is an Amazon Prime original about superheroes. It's obvious commentary on our current superhero culture and the surface level, but it goes a lot deeper to that, to pop culture in general, religion, many things. And honestly, this has been attempted before. Many shows and movies have tried to do the honest look at how having superheroes in the real world would turn out. Personally, this felt like the most accurate representation of what probably would exist so far. A corporate run, sponsored, kind of the bad guys superhero. People who view themselves as gods and are treated as such, but are still human, probably wouldn't turn out to be the best. None of this is spoilers so far. You can't say that, it's all in the trailer, because the trailer shows you that's the setup. The superheroes are kind of the jerks, bad guys, inadvertently killing people and not really caring.
Soups lose hundreds of people each year to collateral damage.
But this will be a spoiler-free review for here at the beginning, and I'll get into spoilers in a minute. But let's just go ahead and break down why I thoroughly enjoyed The Boys, the Amazon Prime original. I can't really not start with character. The character displayed here was utterly phenomenal. Everyone had a deep, well-understood personality, a complex but definitely believable motivation, and relationships with each other that felt different, with layered, nuanced paths and views of each other, really all in. And this can be exemplified with just how much I don't think I realized some of the things that shouldn't have existed in the story because the writing between the characters was so great. And this is kind of just a natural result of the writing as a whole being solid here. This is a well-written, well-realized, and understood story that has clearly been planned out and paced for multiple seasons. It's not one of these shows that at the end I was like, oh, that's it, and then they kind of tack on some season 2 things. No, this is clearly set out to be a multiple season endeavor, which I appreciate, because right now we're getting a whole lot of these shows that at the end of season 1, you're like, great, that was awesome. They've not set up season 2, and I appreciated that. Just from a technical standpoint, I found this show to be well above the average, the current standard. The visual effects occasionally suffered slightly, but the sound design especially I found to be enthralling. Great score as well, really good soundtrack, music choices. Really, all of those things really played out well for me. But getting into the story, obviously I've talked about the setup. Bad guys. If you look at the trailer, our main protagonist is a man whose girlfriend is run through by a speedster. A superhero goes really fast, blows his girlfriend into a bunch of bloody bits. And that's the initiating incident. It's in the trailer. I'm not spoiling things. Do not comment that. And from there, we get into this underground of anti-superhero resistances kind of situation. And it's a blast. It's a pretty dark concept and dark execution of that concept. There is gore. There is sexual violence, there is all kinds of stuff happening in this story, but it's still a lot of fun to watch because there's a really nice balance of them understanding that what they're doing, the story they're telling, is inherently not that serious because it's superhero framed and they fully embrace that, but they're not afraid to inject the realistic consequences of having these superpowered beings around and how society would react to them, which is hero worship, which we're seeing now with not even real heroes. So of course they take it to the extreme, to the point where heroes are comparing themselves to Christ right and left, and it just completely works and feels like how this would exist. The deifying of superpowered man or woman. How the characters are introduced and interplay with the story, I enjoyed. I found it rarely to be completely predictable. Some things were obvious, but that's just how you get into it. But some of the more brutal bits, that's just how these stories go. But some of the more brutal bits, I certainly did not see coming, and so much more praise there. A superhero story that I'm not seeing the very end of it from scene 1, totally predictable, is nice in today's day and age. And when I'm already feeling superhero burnout, the fact that this story is so well done that it didn't really bother me at all. I wasn't feeling burnt out from superheroes was the best praise I can play on this, because it was an intelligent and well done dissection of our current superhero culture and using that as a nice parallel to look at religion in society, politics in society, and and all the praise, all the praise. For my spoiler-free review, I'm feeling an 8.5 out of 10, and depending how well Season 2 plays with the elements of Season 1, it could be bumped up to a 9 out of 10, honestly. But getting into spoilers here, if you have not finished, do not listen to what I'm about to say, click off the video, or just mute it and wait to the end to help me in the analytics. Don't actually do that, that's a lot of work, don't bother with that. So seriously, click away, spoilers start, 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, the ending with Butcher is what we gotta talk about, because I predicted his son, not his son, Homestead's son, being alive completely. But the wife being alive, I actually didn't call. I called the kid killing her in birth being the truth, but it was not. And I was legitimately surprised. Good on them. Especially because it neuters what Butcher's motivating factor has been up to this point, which means in Season 2 we should be getting a lot of evolution of his character and change up, which I'm excited to see. Homestead is probably one of the creepiest antagonists I've seen in a show since Game of Thrones was good. He was spectacular with his whole persona and breastfeeding mommy fetish thing that was remarkably disturbing and well done for its disturbing necessity. I love the dynamic and relationships built between the seven. Everyone from the running guy, I can't remember his name, even though I just binged this show today. I liked his little B-plot side story. I think the weakest side story by far was the Deeps. He was just not my favorite character at all. Obviously, I hated him because I'm supposed to, but I also just found him to always be the least engaging. Best comedic moment with the dolphin, for sure. But as soon as he was sent off, every time we cut back to him, I'm like, why? This isn't developing anything. We can just have him continually be there, and we'll know exactly how he's doing. That doesn't need to be explored more, but it kept cutting to him. I can get it. And there were still some good comedic moments, so fine. Stardust, loads of fun. The whole looking at the way the South treats these young girls and props them up and grooms them to be these like weird dolls, and the whole religious angle was so well done. Really, really enjoyed that. The whole just her being like, it at one point, I thought paid off fantastically. It was really well done. Very frequently in shows and books, we see characters who are pushed, and we're waiting for them to push back. And very often they're pushed too much, and it becomes like, why haven't they snapped yet? She, I feel like, snapped at exactly the right moment. And that was one of the best elements of the show, was seeing her finally go, no, and push back. Then the whole corporate aspect of this and how Homestead played into it, how they all played into it, was so much fun. I honestly kind of groaned when I realized that this was where the story was going, but it was with the whole angry assistant and the constant bickering back and forth and marketing angles, it just seems so real how this would really be in the social media age. I dug it. Overall, I just thought this was a really fun show. I would recommend it to pretty much everybody. It's so enjoyable. If you have Amazon Prime, it's free for you. Check it out. If you don't, I thought everyone had Prime. I thought it was just like, if you're born now, you get Prime, because everyone I know has it at this point. It's just cheaper than paying for shipping. But anyway, those are my thoughts on The Boys. An interesting story with layered characters, really good relationship development, solid writing around, good technical aspects. The visuals suffered here and there a bit. I liked the drug angle, but it wasn't the best, but still, everything else held up the weaker elements or masked it so well. I do, quickly, before I forget, want to touch on a couple of character things. Like, I didn't buy that Mother's Milk, which that's still his name, okay, would have just jumped in and been a part of this so easily with having a daughter, but you know, it's so fast-paced and the dialogue's so snappy that you just kind of roll past it. And that actually kind of happened a lot with Butcher being so charming. We as the viewers kind of have to buy that, yes, people are going to just follow him and do as he says, and that's just how this is. And I could forgive it and just be like, okay, though I do think it is a flaw that pretty much every time he's trying to manipulate someone and the plot needs it to work, it just does. And this show somehow made the line, they have super terrorists, work. Anyway, guys, that's my thoughts and review on The Boys, the Amazon Prime original of the dystopian, superhero-filled world. What did you think? Did you love it? Did you hate it? I look forward to seeing the discussion in the comments down below. Honestly, this one I'm going to be talking with people about for a while. I'll be trying to get Maddie to watch it. I don't know if she will or not. I'll definitely try to get my dad watching it too as well, and my brother. They'll all love it. It's a good show. Recommend. High recommend from me. Like and subscribe if you have not already. I already said that, I think. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.